Ingram, this is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thanks for spending some time with us. The fall of the alleged choker, that's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, by digging up dirt on Eric Swalwell, the Democrat machine thought it was doing the party a service. The crowded California scrum had to be winnowed down to ensure that a Republican governor couldn't slide in. Mr. Sleaze had become too much of a risk, but so is this.
In 2018, while I was living and working as a model in Beverly Hills, he offered me connections to further my software company. And I also had an interest in local politics. He invited me to 2 public events. I knew he was married at the time and that his wife was pregnant. He was my friend. On the 3rd occasion, I believe he drugged my drink.
Then it was the old, I forgot something in my hotel room line.
We were supposed to go to a political event, and he said he needed to get paperwork from his hotel room. When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated, and I couldn't move my arms or my body. He raped me, and he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness. And I thought I died.
These are horrific allegations. But the floodgates are now open. She's the 5th woman now to accuse Swalwell of sexual misconduct, a man who served in Congress for more than 13 years. Attorney Lisa Bloom, representing Lana Drews, says 3 other women have also contacted her with accusations against Swalwell over the last 24 hours alone. Now, he denies them, but has apologized for what he calls mistakes in judgment. But given everything we've heard, why would someone like Swalwell, knowing the long line of men taken down during the Me Too era, why would he have been so flagrant about his misdeeds? Now, the best theory is that Swalwell obviously thought he'd be protected, that he'd be insulated from accountability because he was too valuable to the party machine. No one attacked Trump and MAGA like him.
Do you believe the president right now has been an agent of the Russians?
Yes, I think there's more evidence than he is. Yes, and I think all the arrows point in that direction, and I haven't seen a single piece of evidence that he's not.
To party leaders, his vicious blows turned Mr. Sleaze into Mr. MVP, and he was brazen about it. Did you know the choker was an expert on how to treat women?
My Republican colleagues do not trust women. You don't trust women. Do you all ever talk to women? They deserve better. Trust women, my friends. Trust women.
Well, what about all your accusers, Eric? Are they trustworthy? Again, the woman's accusations have not yet been tested in court, and we don't know if they ever will be. But the accusations are adding up. Another woman, Ali Sammarco, appeared on CNN earlier today recounting that Swalwell was very active on Twitter, DMing her directly to set up a meeting in his office. And then he told her he'd introduce her to people who would help her.
We went into his office and he closed the door, and it was just the 2 of us. We talked for 20 minutes, and then after that, I left, and he sent me a text message saying, "Could you feel the tension in the room between us?" So from there, the messages shifted to much more personal, much more inappropriate, and crossing a line.
His MO was reaching out, she said, late at night.
He would say things like, "What are you doing? What are you wearing? Send me a photo of what you're doing right now." One night we were talking and he just sent me a photo of his genitals.
Okay. The dude is sending pics of his junk and meeting behind closed doors solo with random women he meets on Twitter, and we're supposed to believe, somehow believe, that the smartest women in politics on the left, Nancy Pelosi, knew nothing about this.
Some Republicans and others are saying that Democrats turned kind of a blind eye, that they knew what he was up to or what the allegations
were. That is absolutely positive. And it's true that they may say that, but it is absolutely not true.
You had no idea?
None whatsoever. None whatsoever. I had none whatsoever.
Adam Schiff had no clue either?
I'm honored that Adam has endorsed my campaign for governor.
Let me say how proud I am to support you, Eric.
Adam was happy to endorse him, but Schiff today says he was blindsided. And Swalwell's BFF, Arizona Senator Gallego, also claims that he was kept in the dark. Now, this is what you call a grilled Reuben.
How did you not know about the allegations, though, considering you chaired his presidential campaign?
This man lived a double life. I was manipulated, I was lied to, and everyone else was too. I, again, had heard rumors. There's rumors about people all the time here. You just don't believe it.
What were the rumors that you heard? What were the rumors?
It was flirty. That was flirty.
And that was when? About what year was it?
I mean, that was through. We've heard that. We've heard that throughout. I heard rumors of him being flirty.
Okay, first of all, who uses the word flirty? Second, Gallego knows there is no such thing as being an acceptable flirt on Capitol Hill or corporate America anymore. No such thing. It doesn't pass muster. The Democrat mob may have thought they could strike strategically here to get rid of Swalwell and his problem, but they may have just opened an exploding Pandora's box. And that's the angle.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.